So today we're going to go over the first 25 problems on this review that I sent out. I'm also going to record this and post it, so just in case you want to go back and review some of the work, that'll be available for you on Google Classroom. So let's get started. So number one, and if at any point, if you want to volunteer for one of these problems, you're more than welcome to. I will keep a note, and then I'll give you extra credit for volunteering. Okay. So for number one, find the midpoint of the segment joining the points 4, -2, and -8, 6. So remember to find the midpoint, you can add up the x values divided by 2, add up the y values, and divide by 2. So for this problem, 4 plus -8 divided by 2, and -2 plus 6 divided by 2, that's going to give us -2, comma 2, letter D. Okay, for number two, find the distance between the points 3, -2, and 6, 4. Okay, so we're going to use the distance formula. Over here on this side. So that's the square root of the differences of the x values squared plus the difference of the y values squared. So 3 minus 6 is -3, and -2 minus 4 is -6. Square those numbers, you get the square root of 9 plus the square root of 36, which is the square root of 45. And you still need to simplify. So 9 is a perfect number that divides 45. Sorry. Nine times 5. So 3 root 5 is your answer. Okay, number 3. Find AB. There's two different ways to find AB. You could use the distance formula, or there's something else. Can anyone tell me what's the other way I could find it? Or you could type it in the chat. The other way to find it is by using the Pythagorean theorem, because this actually makes a right triangle. And this base here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units as well. So AB squared is 7 squared plus 7 squared, which is 49. And then you need to find the square root of both sides. So AB is the square root of 49. I'm sorry, it's 49 plus 49. Which is the square root of 98. And that simplifies to 49 times 2, which is 7 square root 2. Number 4, a student enters the following information into his/her calculator when attempting to find the slope between the points 6, 7 and -5, 3. Which of the following statements are true? Okay, so the student is correct with the slope is 11.5. Well, that's what the calculator said, but the student did not use parentheses here. That's gonna give you the wrong answer. So it's not the slope formula does not involve subtraction. Yes, it does. The slope is actually negative 11.5. The slope is actually 4/11. So it's actually 4/11 because 7 minus 3 is 4, and 6 minus -5 is 11. So it's D. So just be careful when using the calculator. Number 5, ABC and angle CBD form a linear pair. So that means that they add up to 180 degrees. ABC is 6x plus 4. CBD is x plus 8. What is the value of x? So you want to add up these two expressions, and they're supposed to sum up to 180. So combine like terms. Subtract 12 on both sides. And then divide by 7. 168 divided by 7 is 24. Any questions, just let me know. You could type it in the chat or just unmute yourself. Number 6, PQR and LMN are complementary. If PQR is equal to 2x plus 4 and LMN is 62 degrees, what is the value of x? So complementary, this one means that they add up to 90 degrees. So 2x plus 4 plus 62 is 90. 2x plus 66 is 90. Subtract 66 on both sides. You get 24. So x is 12. Okay, next problem. Angle STU and RSV are vertical angles. So that means that vertical angles are congruent actually. So if STU is 5x plus 1 and RSV is 46, what is the value of x? So in this problem, the expressions are equal to each other. So 5x is equal to 45, x is equal to 9. Okay, next problem. Find QS in the diagram below. Okay, so that's that blue line. The blue line is from Q all the way to S. So 12 plus this expression, 12x plus 8 is equal to x plus 22. Just write that out. Combine like terms. I'm sorry, this is not 12x, this is 2x. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna subtract x on both sides. So this leaves me with 1x over here on the left. And then I'm gonna subtract 30 on both sides. So 22 minus 30 is -8. So if I want to find QS, I could just plug it in here. And that's 14. Number 9. Given that V is a point on WU and WV is equal to X, let's draw that out. So we can label it. So V is on WU. Okay, so somewhere in between. WV is X, and then VU is 11. And then WU is 1 plus 2x. So from here to here, we have 1 plus 2x. Find VW. So basically, we gotta have to solve for x. So the two expressions on top, x plus the 11, has to be equal to 1 plus 2x. Subtract 1 on both sides, and then subtract x on both sides. So x is 10, which is WB. Okay, number 10. Find HIP angle, find the measure of angle HIP in the diagram below. If the measure of angle HIP, HIJ, so that's the whole angle, is 24x minus 4. That's the whole thing. HIP is 16x minus 6. And PIJ is 50. Okay, so we need to solve for x. So these two together makes up the entire angle. So I'm gonna add those together. 16x minus 6 plus 50. That's equal to 24x minus 4. Okay, combine like terms. Okay. Negative 6 plus 50 is 44. Okay, I'm going to subtract 16x on both sides. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And then divide by 8 on both sides. So x is equal to 6. And we want to find the measure of HIP. It's going to be 16 times 6 minus 6. 16 times 6 is 96. Minus 6 is 90. Okay, that was 10, 11. For 11 to 13, refer to the triangle to the right. So if B is 5, then the exact value of A is, all right, well, looking at this triangle, I see that it's a special right triangle. It's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And the lengths of the sides have a relationship. Let's say that the side opposite to the 30-degree angle We'll just call it x, so it could stand for any number. To find the side that is opposite to the 60-degree angle, you multiply x by the square root of 3. To find the hypotenuse, or the side opposite to the 90-degree angle, you take the x and you multiply it by 2. So it's 2x. So we have the side that is opposite to the 30-degree angle. So we're trying to find A, which is the side opposite to the 60-degree angle. So you take the 5 and you multiply it by the square root of 3. So that's option 2. If they wanted the hypotenuse, I know they didn't ask, but you take the 5 and you multiply it by 2. This would be 10. So if it's a special right triangle, if you have one of the sides, you can find the rest. Okay, number 12. So I'm going to redraw the triangle since I already wrote all over the other one. If A is 2 square root of 3, then find the value of B. Okay, so this time I have, so this is 60 degrees. This time I have the side that is opposite to the 60-degree angle. So if I'm going backwards, instead of multiplying by the square root of 3, you divide by the square root of 3. And that simplifies nicely. And this relationship still works, because if I start with 2, to get the side that is opposite to the 60-degree angle, you multiply it by the square root of 3. And yeah, I hear you. It is larger. This picture, unfortunately, is not drawn to scale. Yeah, good observation. The 60-degree angle should open up wider than the 30-degree angle, right? So this picture is not drawn to scale. Very good observation. Yeah. Okay. 13. If B is 7, let me draw another triangle for this one. Right over here. Oops. B is 7. To find A, so to find this one, you multiply it by the square root of 3. And then find the value A that is nearest, find the value of A to the nearest 10th. So go ahead and use the calculator to multiply that. The Google calculator is fine. So first I'll find the square root of 3, which is, oops, I have to write it all out. Okay, you can see it all. So 7 times the square root of 3 is 12.1. It said round to the nearest 10th. Oh yeah, this is the one that had a typo. Okay, so none of these answers are correct. Answer is 7 square root of 3, which is approximately 12.1. Yes, absolutely. Especially when you have to round, especially with those problems with area, volume. We'll get to those, I think, a few problems down the line. Okay, 14 and 15 refer to the triangle to the right. Oh, see, this one is drawn to scale. The 30-degree angle is B is smaller than A, so okay, this one's drawn better. So we still have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. If B is 7, find the value of C. So we have the side that is opposite of the 30-degree angle. So to find the hypotenuse, you just need to multiply by 2. So this would be 14. So the answer is D. And then 15, if B is 7, oh, same starting point. So now to find the value of A, to find the side opposite to the 60-degree angle, you multiply 7 times the square root of 3. Yeah. And, oh, we actually did this already. We did it up here. 7 square root of 3 is approximately 12.1. All right, so that's 15. Okay, 16, 17, 18 refer to the triangle to the right. Okay, so this is our other special right triangle, the 45, 45, 90. So something to remember that if two angles are congruent in a triangle, then the sides opposite to it are congruent. So I'll go call the first two sides x and x. And then to find the hypotenuse, you just multiply x by the square root of 2, whatever the number is. So let's get into this example here. If b is 7, then find the exact value of c. Oh, so here it is. So we have one of the sides, so you just multiply the side by the square root of 2. Okay, 7 square root of 2. Okay. 17, if b is 2 square root of 6, so let me draw another triangle. If b is 2 square root of 6, find the value of a. Also, for this one, since they're both sides opposite to 45-degree angles, then they're congruent. So it's the same, 2 square root of 6. For 18, let's draw another triangle. C is 5 square root of 6. Find the value of b. Okay. So since I already have the hypotenuse, you're going to do the opposite, which is divide by the square root of 2. And you could go ahead and divide numbers that are inside the radical. This is you with 5 radical 3. Any questions on special right triangles? Okay. Let's move on to 19. The two triangles are congruent as suggested by their appearance. Find the value of b. The diagrams are not drawn to scale. Okay, so here's b. It seems like b matches up with this side. We just want to verify that. All right, so this is a right angle. This is 52. Then d has to be 38. Okay, it matches up. Okay, just want to make sure it's in the correct position. So it's 4. Sometimes you could have the triangles like turned, rotated, or reflected. So you just make sure it matches up. I guess this one was just pretty simple. Okay, 20. In triangle DEF, D is 3x plus 5, E is 4x minus 15, F is 2x plus 10. Which statement is true? We get into the measurements, so we should definitely solve for x first. So they gave us 3 angles. So that means that if you add up the 3 angles, they add up to 180. So I'm going to add up those 3 expressions. So 3x plus 5 plus 4x minus 15 plus 2x plus 10 is equal to 180. Combine like terms. So 3, 7, 9x. 5 minus 15 is negative 10. Plus 10 is 0. So that goes away. So 9x is equal to 180. And x is equal to 20. So now that I know that x is 20, I could plug those in so I can see what the values are. So 3 times 20 plus 5, that would be 65. E, 4 times 20 is 80, minus 15 is also 65. And then F, 2 times 20 is 40, plus 10 is 50. Okay, so I know the angles. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this out here. So we have two 65-degree angles and a 50-degree angle. Okay. So remember, if in a triangle, if you have congruent angles, the sides opposite are also congruent. So now we know that DF and EF are the same. So that's option number 1. Okay, DE and FE, no, that's not true. Angle E and F, no, those are not congruent. D and F, no, those are not congruent. Okay, so the first option is correct. Okay, 21. What are the center and radius of the circle whose equation is x minus 5 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to 16? So here we have an equation of a circle. So just a reminder, it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, where the center is h comma k. Notice that on the equation, h and k are negative, so whatever you're given, you do the opposite. So the center is actually 5 comma negative 3. Okay. So you use the numbers that are opposite. And then the radius is going to be the square root of the number that you're given at the end. So the square root of 16 is 4. So that's going to be option 4. Okay, 22. The diameter of a sphere is 15 inches. What is the volume of the sphere to the nearest tenth of a cubic inch? So we have to round. So the volume for a sphere is 4 over 3 pi r to the third power. Just want to verify that. Yes. Okay. So we need the radius, but we're given the diameter. So that means half of that is the radius. Okay, so just read the problem carefully. Okay, so you definitely need a calculator here. So let's go back here. So 4/3, I'm put that into a parenthesis, times pi times 7.5 to the power of 3. Okay, enter. So we get 1766.3 approximately. Okay. So this is the nearest number here. So the reason why our numbers didn't match up is because we rounded pi. So let me just go back. Instead of using 3.14, I'm going to use pi. And here's pi here. Times 7.5 to the third power. Okay, 1767.1. Yeah, you see how that matches up? If your calculator doesn't have a pi number, you could make it more accurate. Instead of just writing 3.14, you could add like a couple more digits. The next two digits are actually 15. So if I were to use 3.1415, it would be even more accurate. So let me just show you real quick. There we go, 1767.09, and that rounds up to 0.1. So that one actually gives you the same answer. So if you don't have the pi button, you could use 3.1415. Yeah. For the volume, it's 4/3 pi r squared. Yeah. All right, cool. So volume. Okay, 23. What is the volume in cubic centimeters of a cylinder that has a height of 15 centimeters and a diameter of 12? Okay, so to find the volume of a cylinder, this one is pi r squared h. H for height. Okay, so this is going to be pi times the radius is, well, they give us the diameter, so half of that is 6, and then the height is 15. Okay, looking at the answer choices, they do not multiply the pi because they just want the nice clean answer. So you only have to multiply 6 squared times 15. And 6, so that's 36 times 15, which is 540. So that's going to be option 2. Sometimes they like to leave pi just to be a nice clean number. Okay. All right, last two. And the diagram below, triangle ABC, BC is extended to D. All right. So it's an extension. All right, so it's just um, emphasizing that it makes a linear pair here. Okay, so we know we have a linear pair. All right. Oops. erase that. There it is. If a is x squared minus 6x, b is 2x minus 3, and ACD, so this on the outside you have 9x plus 27. What is the value of x? Okay, so to find the value of x, we could actually find an expression for this angle on the inside. Since we know we have a linear pair, so you subtract 9x plus 27, you subtract it from 180. Okay, and that actually simplifies to negative 9x plus 153. So this angle here is negative 9x plus 153. Okay, so now I have expressions for all three angles inside of a triangle, and I also know that those three angles need to add up to 180. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up an equation. So x squared minus 6 plus 2x minus 3 plus negative 9x plus 153 is equal to 180. We're going to combine like terms. So negative 6x plus 2x is negative 4x minus 9x is negative 13x. And then negative 3 plus 153 is 150. Now, this is a quadratic equation. So to solve a quadratic equations, you want to set them equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 180 on both sides. Okay. And now to solve, I'm going to factor. So numbers that multiply to negative 13 and add up to negative 30. It's going to be 15 and 2, but the 15 has to be negative. Okay, so I factored it. Now, numbers that make this 0, 15, and negative 2. Okay. So these are the x values, and we could see that only 15 is the correct answer. Now the reason why negative 2 is not correct is because if you plug it in, you get negative measurements, which are not allowed. So if you would plug in, for example, you plug in negative 2 here for x, you get negative 4 minus 3, which is negative 7. And inside of a triangle, you cannot have a negative angle. So that's why negative 2 is actually not a practical solution to this problem. Only 15. Okay, that one was involved. Okay, finally, 25. Line N intersects line L and M, forming the angle shown in the diagram below. Which value of x would prove that L and M are parallel? So if they were parallel, then these two angles would be alternate interior angles, and alternate interior angles would be congruent. So you could actually set these equal to each other. Okay. Subtract 6x on both sides. Add 12 to both sides. Oops, sorry. It's supposed to be an x. And then divide both sides by 12. So x is equal to 4.5. All right.